Good morning, Year 7s. It's Mr. Chen-Ke here. I wanted to record a short video this morning walking you guys through the whole's essay planning process. Now, we're going to use the essay topic that we've been unpacking as a class as an example for this video. So, just to remind you, the topic is Whole suggests that transformation can only occur when a devastating event happens. To what extent do you agree? So, as I've been walking around and checking in on you across the week, a lot of students I'm noticing are doing steps 1 to 3 of the essay planning process very, very well. So, you're highlighting the keywords, you're finding synonyms for those keywords, defining them, and thinking about what they mean in relation to the book. And I'm starting to notice you guys are really thinking about the command words in each of these topics and what they're asking you to really write about. So, the command word here, to what extent do you agree? A lot of you guys are starting to pick up on the fact that, hey, perhaps this statement, this proposition is something that I can disagree with to an extent, or at the very least, are there different ways that I can think outside the box to respond to these topics? So, you guys are doing steps 1 to 3 extremely well. What I wanted to cover in this video is steps 4 and steps 5 of the essay planning process. Step 4 is all about forming your contention. So, what is your stance? What is your point of view? What's your opinion in relation to the essay topic? Now, I've come around to a few students this week and they've been telling me that they're finding it pretty easy to think of examples from the book that are relevant to the topic, but they're struggling to turn that example into a contention. So I want to first start off by saying it is okay to think about examples from the book first. So when I look at a topic like this, Hall suggests that transformation can only occur when a devastating event happens. If we think about examples from the book, absolutely. The murder of Sam, for example, is a devastating event, which triggers the drought. It also triggers the curse on Green Lake, right? So, yes, this is an example, and it's actually good to start off by thinking with examples. So, the murder of Sam is something that a lot of you guys have picked up on as a key example that's relevant to this topic. And obviously, um, this leads to the transformation of Kate Barlow. What are some other examples related to transformation occurring when a devastating event happens? Stanley and Zero, for example, have to, let's say, overcome a series of potentially fatal events, such as climbing God's thumb, avoiding the bites of yellow spotted lizards, the harsh desert environment. So, all these examples are showing how transformations in wholes can occur when something devastating or potentially devastating happens. So, right now, that's not yet a contention. These are just our ideas, some examples from the book that demonstrate the key ideas of this topic. So, how do you turn this into a contention statement? Well, I always like to ask myself, what is the author trying to say through these examples? So, what is Lewis Sacker exploring here through these examples? Well, you could write something like, through these two examples, Sam the Onion Man, Stallions are having to overcome potentially fatal events. Sacker shows his readers how racism and corruption, because remember, in the case of that example of Stanley and Zero, none of these potentially fatal events would have happened if Camp Green Lake wasn't a corrupt correctional facility in the first place. So Sacker shows readers how racism and corruption causes devastating consequences, which lead to the negative transformation of individuals and places. So that is a contention statement. All right? So always ask yourself, if you think of examples first, great. But remember, examples aren't your contention. Once you come up with your examples, ask yourself, what is the author? So in this case, what is Lewis Sacca trying to say through these examples? What's he exploring here in relation to the essay topic? Now, we can do this same thing, what we just did. So if I get rid of this, so we can also write, however, Sacca also shows that not all transformations happen because of catastrophic events, but as a result of positive ones. So, this is something that we've been planning in class as well. The fact that no, we can actually disagree to an extent with this topic because not all transformation happens because of devastating occurrences, right? So, that is a contention statement. Oops, let me just highlight that in yellow. So, what are some examples that show this disagree contention statement to be true? So, after discovering the treasure, Stanley breaks Madame Zeroni's curse. Um, Zero is reunited with his mother. He uses the money from the treasure to do so. Um, the positive events at the end of the novel also lead to the closure of Camp Green Lake, ending decades of, let's say, child labor exploitation. So, again, these are all examples, but these examples show that not all transformations happen because of catastrophic events. So, that is my tip around writing really, really solid contention statements. If you think about examples from the book first, that is absolutely okay. But then ask yourself, what is the author, what is Lewis Sacca exploring or saying through these examples? But beyond that, what are these examples saying in relation to the essay topic? All right. Now, what we'll do is we'll now move on to step 5. So this is where you state your 3 main points. In other words, this is where you write your rough topic sentences. These sentences will form the sentences of your 3 body paragraphs. Now, how do you actually write these sentences? I was talking to Sean yesterday and I recommended a sentence structure, and I'll share that with the class as well. So I'm going to call this sentence structure author plus verb plus idea. All right. So I'm going to color code these to hopefully make it a little bit clearer for you guys. So I'm going to color code author in orange, verb in blue, and idea in green. So how do we come up with our 3 main ideas? Well, we have to do that by looking at the contention. We have our contention now. Sacca shows readers how racism and corruption causes devastating consequences, which lead to the negative transformations of individuals and places. However, Sacca also shows that not all transformations happen because of catastrophic events, but as a result of positive events. So we now need to come up with 3 arguments, 3 ideas, 3 points to support our contention on the topic. So, what is Lewis Sacca trying to say in his book, right? What examples can we use as the backbone for each of these main ideas? So to come up with my topic sentences, I always go back to my contention and I always look back at these examples. So if we look at example number 1, what's Lewis Sacca trying to say through this example in relation to the topic? Well, we know that Sam the Onion Man is murdered because of the really deep racism at Green Lake. So perhaps Lewis Sacca is trying to show his readers how racism causes a series of devastating consequences, which lead to negative transformations. So that then becomes my first topic sentence. So I'm going to get rid of this highlighter. I'm going to write Sacca, the author, shows will be my verb, And the idea will be something like Saka shows how racism causes a series of destructive consequences, leading to the negative transformation of once innocent characters. So remember when Sam the Onion Man dies, Catherine Barlow becomes the infamous outlaw Kate Barlow, or Kissing Kate Barlow, because she wants to take revenge on those who slaughtered Sam. And once thriving places as well. Because when Sam is murdered because of the racist townspeople, Green Lake is cursed for 110 years and there's the drought, and it destroys a once thriving community. So again, just notice the structure here. You always, when you write your rough topic sentences, start with the author, Lewis Saka. Then you want to use a verb, like shows. And then you want to list your idea. Now, rough topic sentence number 2. Again, I go back to my contention and I go back to some of these examples. And I ask myself, what is Lewis Saka trying to show us through these examples? Well, if we look at the example of Stanley and Zero, we can state that Saka suggests, again, author and verb, that positive transformation can occur when characters are forced to overcome near fatal events caused by corruption. So, again, when I look at this example, right, we know that Stanley and Zero have to overcome and face so many near destructive circumstances. And all those circumstances are caused by the corruption of the people at Camp Green Lake, Mr. Sir, the warden, Mr. Pendansky. And even though those things nearly end up killing the boys and are really, really devastating and destructive, the boys come out of those experiences as better people. They become more resilient. They become stronger, both physically and mentally. Okay? So again, I'm looking at these examples and I'm asking myself, what's Lewis Saka trying to say here? What are his main ideas? And again, notice that for each of my rough topic sentences, I'm going author, and then I'm adding a verb like suggests, and I'm ending with an idea. Let me do this one more time for you. So, topic sentence number 3. Now, remember, our third point is going to disagree to an extent with the topic. We're saying that not all transformations happen because of negative, catastrophic events. So, if you look at these examples, what's Lewis Saka trying to say when Stanley breaks Madame Zeroni's curse? What's he trying to say about the importance of doing positive things and doing morally correct and ethical things? Well, you could write something like, however. Now, however's important here as a connective because we're introducing the fact that we're going to disagree with part of this topic. However, Saka argues might be a good verb here, that not all transformation happens because of catastrophic events. And instead, by breaking the cycle of corruption and by doing good deeds or acts, people and places can change for the better, right? So again, Saka is the author, argues is the verb, and this is the idea. So, this is how I would be coming up with my rough topic sentences for each of my body paragraphs that will form the backbone of my essay. So, hopefully that's helped today. Your job for the remainder of today's lesson is to brainstorm some supporting evidence. So, get your copy of Holes Open, use the thematic chapter and passage worksheet that I gave you yesterday. Can you find key moments from Holes, key ideas, key characters to discuss, really important quotes from the book that can back up your three body paragraphs. So for each of these three topic sentences, for each of these three ideas, can you come up with evidence from the book to support your interpretations? Okay, so hopefully that's helped. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me in class tomorrow. Keep working hard, year sevens.